It takes something special to stand out in the slasher subgenre of horror. With hundreds and maybe thousands of slasher films made since their prime in the 80s, every trope and cliché has been worn down to its nub by now. Does Netflix's new slasher from Poland, Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, blaze new trails in the stale subgenre? Or does it take the same old tried and true pathways? Let's find out. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights page and give it a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Please get the word out to new folks so we can make the Kings of Horror Network, as well as ML Miller Frights, bigger and better. Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, aka Welesle Dzisny Zasny Nikt, which I think is Polish for Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, is new, streaming on Netflix. It's directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski and written by Kowalski, Jan Kwiecinski, and Miriela Zaradkowicz. Adrenaline is a camp for teens who are addicted to technology. The counselors are enthusiastic about starting a new summer season where technology is left behind, and the kids can take some time to enjoy nature. Immediately, the cell phones are confiscated as the kids leave the bus, and the kids are assigned to specific groups for activities. One group, the one we follow for the duration of this film, is assigned to go on a 3-day hike through the thickly forested Polish countryside. While the kids are less than enthusiastic about leaving their phones and tablets behind, they find themselves intrigued by the chance to goof off, do the drugs, and make the sex. You know, like kids used to do back before we had cell phones and the internet. Unfortunately, this hike passes by a cabin deep in the woods, and inside that cabin is a pair of monstrous cannibal twins, once trapped in the cellar, but now free to stalk and murderize anyone in their path. Derivative of the Friday the 13th films, as well as Wrong Turn, Hatchet, and especially the underrated classic Just Before Dawn, Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight is full of those slasher tropes we all know and love. Sex equals death in these woods. Going off on your own equals death in these woods. Splitting up equals death in these woods. Pretty much anything fun or interesting for these kids to do, you guessed it, equals death in these woods. While nothing is especially new, the film even lifts one of its first kills directly from Friday the 13th Part 7. Things do feel fresh because of the lush, forested setting, some strong performances by its cast, and a quirky sense of humor that permeates the entire film. You've got final girls, killings after sex, splitting up, and dumb cliches everywhere. But all of it, like the over-the-top lovemaking scene by Moonlight, set to some sappy but cool music, is done with tongue firmly planted in cheek. I think. I want to think Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight knows it's not original. I'm sure the filmmakers have seen all of the slasher films that we have, but I'm wondering if they are conscious that we have seen it, or they're just swiping from old movies in hopes that younger audiences who haven't will be thinking that these are fresh ideas. I say this because there's an ironic tone to Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. Every one of the opening scenes feels charming in the quirky way they're depicting the peppy counselors and the unimpressed kids. The threat is always real and taken seriously, but there are moments that feel a little too on the nose for me, such as a scene where the nerdy kid starts reciting the rules of a slasher movie a la Scream. I understand that this film is Polish-made and therefore being presented to a brand new audience, but I'm sure Scream eventually made it to Poland, and scenes like this, which try to be clever, end up tanking because they've been directly copied from more popular films. Nevertheless, I laughed quite a bit at Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. The humor is solid, as is the gore, which is grotesque and extreme in an almost goofy, in-your-face, Ash vs. Evil Dead kind of way. The way bodies are decimated by our pair of evil monsters is over the top, and once they get past the scenes lifted from previous movies, the film never balks on making every kill more goppy and gross than the next. But never are we to laugh at these bloated, pimply monsters stalking the kids in the woods. Those familiar with Just for Dawn will appreciate the throwback plot point that this one's got not one but two twin hillbilly killers with an interest in killing and eating anything with a heartbeat. Their look is quite disturbing as they're covered in warts and cysts. They're dream patients of Dr. Pimple Popper and work well against the overgrowth of the Polish forest. Literal warts and all, these are some heinous slashers. Quite a few very well choreographed moments of tension occur, such as a brief glimpse at a hand disappearing behind a tree seen by one of the campers, and the extended origin portion in the middle gets quite Lovecraftian. Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight is unpredictable in the first half, despite following the slasher roadmap. It's not afraid to veer off course for a side adventure or two. There's one set in a church, and though that side journey is intriguing, it never really lives up to its promising, perverse introduction. As the film went on, though, I did find myself wishing the film would have ventured a few more steps into Crazy Town and take more narrative risks. Unfortunately, once the halfway point is reached, things get rather predictable. Had the film stuck with its ironically bent tone all the way through, it might have been something truly extraordinary. As is, Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight ends up being a solid yet standard slasher entry with some early in the game twists, gore, and gags that are worthwhile, but ultimately takes the safe path in the latter portion. But if you're a slasher fanatic like me, this is going to be required viewing despite the familiarity. That'll be it for today. Please chime in the comments and let me know what you think of this video, how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. Don't forget, I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look for. Grave Trancers is out right now, and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, will be out in November 18th in only the finest of comic book stores. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside